Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Hi everyone, this is Henno.
And this is Stephanie.
And we're from the Gotham Knights podcast and
the Orville Lights podcast.
The Gotham Lights podcast is a fan cast dedicated to the television show Gotham.
And sometimes the television show The Orville. And if either of these things tickle your fancy, then by all means, reach out to us on Twitter at Gotham Lights, on Facebook by searching Gotham Lights, and also by means of email, gothamlightspodcast@gmail.com.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org, or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
My life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. My life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, so stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. Then you'll see the clouds every day. Then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name is Jen, and I am your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Brian and Henno. Hey, guys.
Hola.
Hi.
Most uncomfortable hellos in the business.
That's right.
Every week.
That is right.
Every week, without fail.
We come in like the serious tentative guys. Hi. Hello.
Yeah, with the upwards
What's
inflection
funny is
always.
By
Yeah.
the end, by the end, you cannot shut us up.
Yeah. That's pretty
I
accurate.
love it.
Oh, that's so good.
All right. Well, going into This Is Our Week segment here, who wants to go first?
How was your week?
How was your week?
Hold on. Hold on. I have a question to pose here.
Okay.
So our normal rule is if you miss a week, you lead. Heno missed 2 weeks, and generally we've been
so I
like,
lead twice.
well, hold on. But one of them was because it was his birthday. Do we give him leeway, or does he still have to lead?
Oh, I think we can give him forgiveness because of his birthday.
All right. You're nicer than me, so all right. No.
In fact, I'll even go as far as say I will go first.
All right.
So, yeah, I ended up, this week's been a pretty solid week. I ended up, working 3 out of 4 days because I ended up taking a vacation day on Saturday. But things went pretty darn smoothly. I hate to put that out into the universe because gosh knows what the universe is going to kick back at me. But as of right now, I would say that they went actually pretty smoothly.
Really quick, the whole putting things out into the universe thing is so interesting to me because it's like, well, I don't want to put good stuff out into the universe because something bad will happen, right? But we'll put bad stuff out into the universe, which, again, like mathematically, it's setting yourself up to fail, no?
Yeah.
Because you're not, if you said 50-50, then whatever happens is going to happen at that point. You just accept fate. But if you only put bad out there and then bad happens, I mean, I feel like you're getting what you called for. Right? I mean.
Very true. I didn't think about it that way, but you are right. Got to put the goodness out there.
Yeah.
But, so it turned out that I ended up having 3 fairly successful days. I'm enjoying the new part of my job, which is cool. I'm enjoying doing a lot more things with the trucks being brought in and things like that. So that part is actually very good. And then the other part, they're actually talking about getting me some help for. So, things are leveling out, which is a positive, and I'm willing to own up to the fact that it's a positive. Still not exactly where I want to be with things, but things are going in the right direction. So I am optimistic about the direction I'm heading.
Good.
Now, I ended up taking a vacation day on Saturday because, quite frankly, I needed a night out, and everyone goes out on Friday or Saturday nights. So I took a Saturday night off right before St. Patty's Day. So I decided that I was going to head out with some friends, and we ended up going to the casino. There's a local casino nearby us. So I ended up going to the casino, having a few drinks, losing a few dollars, and people watching. Now, I love people watching. People are amazing creatures, and I absolutely adore how people interact with each other and social events. I love how people just do their own thing. And as we're sitting there, because we went and we sat at the bar with, had a band playing at this bar. So we order our drinks and we're sitting there. And there's this woman who is, for all intents and purposes, blind. She had someone with her kind of leading her, and she was wearing the dark glasses. So, we kind of assumed. So she's doing the Macarena to Pretty Young Thing by Michael Jackson. And who's been drinking, comes up and dances with her. And it is the most spectacularly wonderful thing I've ever seen in a long time. Just because they are having the absolute time of their lives. They are just getting into it and just rocking out the Macarena and just, shaking their tail feathers and just having the best time. I was almost jealous because they were having such a great time. And the woman
Wait,
that was with,
whoa. You were around people doing a group line dance kind of thing and you did not get involved?
I know.
This has to be a first.
I
have yet to see you any wedding or event we've gone to. If there's a thing where everyone's doing the same dance, you're on the floor. So,
as you know, those are my people, and
I know you're one of those people that loves a song to tell you how to dance. I get it.
I do. I can't help it. It calls to me.
Right.
It calls to my soul. There wasn't very many people on the dance floor. There was only 2 people doing the Macarena.
Oh, okay.
They were doing it so fantastically that I did not dream of coming and interrupting how wonderful this moment was.
Okay.
Because we had this thing in our group that we called heroes, where a hero is someone who is so confident in themselves that they own whatever they're wearing, whatever they're doing. They own it so completely that they become a hero because they're so into their own and knowing how wonderful they are that you can't touch that confidence.
Yeah, they're basically like the monster movies of people. Like,
yes.
It's so bad that it's glorious.
And it's not that we're making fun of people, so I don't want want the audience to get us wrong.
Speak
because
for
we're
yourself,
not making fun of it at all. I am not making fun of people.
Yeah, I was like, when Tony and I do it, we're definitely making fun of the people.
I am not making fun of people.
No, it's people that own themselves. They own it.
Yeah. And I've said before, I am incredibly jealous I see people who are like 3 times my size, walking like they're the hottest thing on earth. And meanwhile, I'm like, I don't even feel like I should see daylight. So I would love to have that kind of confidence. So I do admire that, you know, because if you can just own who you are and just go be, that's awesome, you know?
Now, Brian, since you're my witness to Jen's odd desire to conform when it comes to group dancing.
Yeah.
When Jen sees this group dancing happening and is suddenly like, I must be a part of, does she own it? Is she a hero?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, I don't,
right.
She's not a hero because she's not,
is she tentative at all?
She doesn't meet the aesthetic of a hero for the most part, because usually the people who end up as heroes, well, at least from Tony and I's standpoint, is, you know, somebody who's got like a glorious mullet just cascading
like
down their back.
Terminally unique.
Yeah, the people, like the concert we went to, and there was the one guy he's just banging his head and getting into it. No one else is really doing this, just this one guy. He's a one-man mosh pit, jumping around, just doing everything, kicking in the air. And we were like, that guy right there is having the best time in the whole place.
The one-man mosh pit.
And that's the thing. That's what it comes down to. Is and I admire that. If you can have that sort of confidence and that sort of self-assuredness, then, you know, power to you. You rock it out. Who cares what the world thinks, because you're doing you and you're loving it? That's amazing to me. And
the mullet.
Yep.
Yes, there was actually
the first person I remember calling a hero was he was walking through this trade center. Tony and I were at looking for magic cards, and this guy's just walking through. He's got, you know, just a beautiful mullet, like halfway down his back, super feathery on top, right? He's got one of those like 80s leather jackets on. The woman on his arm looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife, basically. And she's combing his mullet, or brushing his mullet. And Tony and I just looked at each other and we were like, wow.
That's heroic.
Yeah, that right there. Yeah. That's a hero. Cause I mean, all he needed, there were 2 things in my mind he needed. One was a bald eagle, and the other is some wind blowing his hair just ever so, you know, gently, you know.
A bald eagle.
Yeah. You know, cause.
Yeah.
America. Yeah.
Sure.
We wanted to follow him out to see if he got into like a Firebird or something, you know, because yeah.
Gotta be a Camaro.
Well, yeah.
But
they'd have Camaro hair, so.
But it was wonderful. So I ended up having a really nice time and got to, people watch and see some wonderful people having an absolute best time. It was so much fun just to kind of get out of myself and to get out of my normal, traditional, everyday situation and just let loose. We ended up going after that to a local bar, which the girls that I was with, the ladies I was with, are from further up into Michigan, and I'm kind of in a country area. And the bar we ended up going to was around the corner from where I live, and it closes at midnight. To which those of you out there that live in the cities and stuff, like midnight, what the heck?
Right. Yeah.
But yes, they close at midnight because everything closes at midnight around me. Nothing is open much past.
That is totally true because Tony lives near you and I couldn't get an Uber up there. So
nothing happens past midnight.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Except for some real dark, long walks. If you go anywhere, that's all you're going to find. Basically, you're a Law and Order episode waiting to happen if you leave your house up in that area. So
this is very true. Even the fast food joints and gas stations are not open past midnight, except McDonald's. McDonald's does stay open 24 hours.
Right.
It is the only place that you can get food at 4 a.m. when I get off work. That's the only reason I know this. But even Taco Bell closes early, folks, which that's saying something.
Yeah. They close at 4.
Yeah.
Maybe not over there, but one over here does.
Not over by me. But anyways, we ended up going out and having some food, some drinks, had some people watching, had some fun. It was just a really nice way to kind of let off some steam and just relax and kind of get Stella's groove back, I guess, as we say. Get back in the groove and just enjoying life.
Wow.
So been my week.
So I have a question to ask. Did you guys didn't go to any bar downtown, right?
No, we didn't go downtown.
My mom thought she saw you on TV at a bar downtown that was, I can't remember. It wasn't the Blarney. It was another one. Anyway, enough of that. But yeah. So, cause she's like, was Jen, I'm like, she was out. I don't know if she's down there.
That's funny.
Like maybe.
That is not the first time someone has accused me of being on TV, but no, it was not me, at least not this time.
It's like, well, I just hope she has her top on. It was, night before St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah.
Things be crazy. Yeah.
No. Jen behaved herself the entire evening.
Good.
For the most part.
Well, yeah, you didn't even get out in Macarena.
I know. How dare I?
I'm glad I'm sitting down. I'm blown away by that.
Alrighty, well, who's next? Who's got a good week going?
No, is yours exciting, Brian?
Not really.
Neither's mine.
I'll go next. Okay. So I thought I had therapy this week, and so I was up early for another purpose. Ended up going to the doctor's office for some blood work. And while I was there, I was like, I didn't get a phone call the day before telling me that that I had an appointment. So I asked them, and somebody just decided to move my therapy a week later than what I had written down. And, luckily it was, I was up there anyway. And again, luckily, the doctor's close, but it was still like, somebody should have called me and told me this, 'cause you don't know.
Communication?
Yeah, you don't know they could know where I live, but you know what I mean? It's like, what if someone took it, what if I had to take a day off of work so I could go to that, or it had to take a couple hours or something, it's like, or, maybe somebody has an issue with getting their kids picked up from school or whatever. But anyway, luckily I don't have any of that stuff. So Wasn't a big deal, except that I'm really ready to go to therapy again. You know, like I feel like full. Like I need to have that experience. And, you know, so from that angle, it's like, but on the other hand, that day, since I was already up and doing things, I made other appointments that I needed to make and whatever. So I, finally.
Wait, does that involve phone calls?
Yep.
Yay!
Now, in
phone
fairness,
Wow.
I needed to make 5 phone calls that because of being there, I cut 2 off and then, yeah, so I got it down to 3. So, you know, that was like my compromise, I guess. But yeah, it did include me sitting here making phone calls, which, you know, was no big deal, which I knew, you know, cause the one is just, hi, I need to make an appointment. Have you been here before? Yep. Here's my name. Oh, when do you want to come in? This day? Cool. Done. You know, and I know it seems like I sped that up, but that was about how long it took. Actually, it took a couple minutes longer because their computers went down right as she was trying to schedule. So she's like, well, I'm going to write everything down on a note here. She's like, as soon as the computer boots back up, I'll put it in there. So I'm going to call on Tuesday and make sure I still have an appointment because, you know, that's a half-hour drive. So that's a little different, you know, than just up the street. So yeah, that's about as exciting as my week got. Tony and I guested on our pal S. Anthony Thomas's podcast, which was a lot of fun. Boy, was I anxious though. Like I haven't done that in a while, so you know, I've been on someone else's show, so my anxiety was really kind of punching me in the face on that one. But again, it's like, I knew it was it's a safe environment. We've talked with S. Anthony before. He's a good guy. He's funny. Yeah. Tony's there. So, you know, whatever, he'll balance him out. And, you know, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and it ended up being, you know, once we started talking, it's fine. It was just that, you know, that lead up to it that I felt my brain going into, you know, the like, how can I get out of this, you know, situation?
Yeah. Huh.
So, but I was able to, you know, put an end to that and whatever. It was strange though, because we did an interview over the phone. So that was very different because I'm used to using Skype for any of these kind of things. Mm-hmm. We actually talked on the phone. So, cause he had some technological difficulties. But yeah.
So you started that way, but you ended up doing telephone.
No, actually he, texted Tony the day of and was like, yeah, I'm going to need your phone number because this is how I have to do the show. So Tony texted me and was like, hey, make sure you charge your phone.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was fine until my phone decided to drop because for some reason my phone is dropping calls like crazy. So I keep getting a call failure thing. So, and I've tried a few things online and I think I'm going to have to like back my phone up and reinstall everything and see if that helps. If not, I guess I have to call some sort of tech support or, you know, find someone's phone to steal. Whichever.
One or the other.
Yeah. Oh man. So, you know, last week I mentioned the GoFundMe thing, how I put that up. Mm-hmm. And it's been really hard for me. The problem with using something like that is the best way for it to work is for you to promote the shit out of it. Excuse my French. So, and I am not good at that. I don't promote myself well at all.
Right.
So it's funny because I'm like, well, I should post again. It's like, well, I don't want to bother people, you know, like, and it's like, but this is the only way it's going to work.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
And it's like, I need a hype man to like push this out for me, you know? But I've had a few people donate so far, and if they are listening, thank you. That's really awesome. And I've had a variety of people that, couldn't, but they've at least like retweeted it or whatever. So it's, that's also helpful. But, it's been such a hard thing for me to wrestle with because first of all, I hate the fact that it's, like I mentioned before, the whole idea that it's out there makes me feel so vulnerable because in my head, I keep getting you're going to get judged. You're going to get judged. You're going to get judged. And I haven't got any of that. No one has said anything to me. And, so there's no basis for it, like that's clearly distorted thinking. Clearly. There is zero evidence to back it up, but my brain still does it. And then, like I said, on top of it, the fact that I do need to promote it. And, one of my podcasting buddies is constantly on me about how I don't promote salty language enough. And he's right. I don't. I pretty much post it on Facebook and on Twitter, and then I don't really do much after that, So, yeah, I think this is one of those times where I'm wrestling with the whole idea of, it's obviously a self-confidence thing. So I have to push myself into doing this, if I want it to have any chance of being successful. So, yeah, that's been fun, and again, just nervous about the whole thing. Also, like, as I do that, it's like I'll see other people sharing ones from other people, and I'm like, oh, they got it so much worse than me. It's almost like that kind of stuff makes me want to pull mine because it's, it's like, oh, I don't want to take money, I don't want to feel like I'm taking money that might go to that person or whatever. Yeah, it's a ridiculous internal fight is what it is.
But you're going through it and you're living through it.
Sort of, yeah.
Yes. You're living through it, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
What would with your therapist, like, consider this a good exercise?
I would think so, much like when she told me to post, and just ask people for things they like about me, because it makes you so vulnerable. Yeah. Because it does. I've seen and been around plenty of people who've seen somebody do something like this, and they're just judgy as heck, just constantly ragging on people that do this kind of stuff. So, and that, I think that is where, I don't think, I know that's where my brain is pulling from, is you've seen people do this, and it's like, someone's doing this behind whatever doors, and then, but logically I'm going, who cares? Like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, and if someone feels that way about me, I don't necessarily think I need them in my life, so
true.
I'm not going to give them a lot of energy at that point. So why give them the energy now, So like I said, I need to see my therapist because I need her to just basically shake me real good and, smack me a couple times across the face and straighten it, get me back where I should be. Even though like Jen said, I have been, pushing through it. So yeah, you're living through it. Yeah. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. It doesn't feel good, but it's okay.
Yeah. You're okay. You'll survive this, and you'll be better off because of it.
Right, exactly. It goes to like she had told me that one time is, anytime your anxiety or whatever is getting the best of you, stop, analyze the situation. Am I in danger? Do I need to take steps to, not be in danger basically? Or am I just feeling, be aware of what you're feeling in that moment and stuff and why. And like I said, that's all it's, I know the most powerful thing that over the time in therapy that has been really pressed into my head is literally it's all in your head. And it's so funny because I've had people say that to me for years, but they don't mean the same thing with those exact words. You know, they're meaning it's made up, which it is, but they're basically going, you can just not do it. Whereas from this side of it, it's in my head, which means I know I can fight it because I know it is made up. But that's been the fight. You know, someone else is just thinking, just quit, you know, just, you know, you're making it up. So just quit lying to yourself kind of a thing. And it, you know, we all know that's not quite how it works, even though that is actually how it works. It's such a weird, you know, like I said, you're using the exact same terms, but your meaning is slightly askew from the other person. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe I've done other stuff, but I don't remember. So,
how about you, Hannah? How was your week?
I procrastinated a lot.
You've had a rough time the last few weeks, so I think you deserve a little procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I do the Gotham Lights podcast on Tuesdays, and so like a week ago I did it on Tuesday. I didn't post the episode until like Monday morning. I had an entire weekend in between there.
Oh man.
No.
And you know what it is? I just didn't prioritize it.
Yeah. I get it. I do that sometimes too with this or salty language when I'm doing it, because I'll be like, I'll post it tomorrow, and then I'm like, I really gotta get this posted, or you know, whatever. So,
and that was the worst of it. I had a gig on Friday night, which was great. That went awesome, and I got to play a song with Dave that we were hoping to play together before he leaves. And it's a little bit. I know we'll always be in touch with each other. I guess it's just not. I think he's bringing it in more than I am, which I find interesting, and I'm glad he's doing it. Like, we sat down to eat some food after we got all the gear set up, and he just said, "I'm going to miss you." You know, it's like, yeah, I'm going to miss him a lot. I just don't want to miss him right now.
Yeah. Right.
I just want to do what we're doing, but I appreciate that he keeps bringing it up.
Yeah.
And because it is something that's important. He's a very good friend of mine. You know, he's actually one of the few people, boy, he and I can throw down with a political conversation, and the next day we'll both look into it some more, and we'll both get back to each other and say, wow, you're right about this, or, oh, I never heard about that, or da-da-da this. And we've always been like that. And I think there's been actually other people in the room before that were like, whoa, what's going on? And it's like, oh, don't worry about it. It'll be over in a minute.
Yeah.
And that's rare to have that type of, we can be passionate with each other. And I think it's because of our music that we can be passionate, but we realized what it is. It's just passion.
Yeah.
It
also helps that you guys know each other well enough to know you're not making a personal attack, essentially.
Never,
it's about the politics or whatever it is you're talking about,
and,
you know?
And you know what? A lot of that is because of music, because I can't play music with people that I can't be just upfront with. I can't please and thank you. And I mean, I do to some degree, but it's literally like, we're working here, we're doing a job, and I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but I can't also get concerned about how somebody if you played something wrong, you played it wrong.
Yeah, really?
If I played it wrong, I played it wrong.
Yeah. You can't fix it midstream. Once it's played, it's played,
Yeah. And you can't feel bad about it if somebody calls you. And yes, there are people that can be real jerks, and there are people that can be real demanding and can be overbearing. And I know I have my moments. But I also like to think I do the best I can I try to be like a team leader rather than, a boss or, something like that. Like, someone who said, who's the band leader? And it's like, nah, it's more like I'm more like the captain kind of. I mean, it's always been one of those things where like I'm kind of the coach, but not, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's, It's been fun. That's why it's been really fun playing with these other guys. The new band I'm in is because all those guys are very experienced and they've all earned, it's the other band was really more fun because I was the most experienced, but everyone had talent. They brought their talent, but it was like I was the person that kind of had more of the musical. So I was almost like, like a musical director, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But still, like personalities, and so I think that's why Dave and I can be like that with each other, is because we don't take it personally musically either. If anything, he's a type where I'll call him on something, and he will just step up. He doesn't let it bring him. Like I will suggest something, and he'll literally put it into practice. I'll be like, "Whoa, that was amazing," and that's why we've been playing together for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, because again, most people, as we've talked on a previous episode, that's one of those situations. It's a perfect example of a lot of people would take that criticism personally and push back, basically, rather than go, maybe there is something to this or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, boy, I had one thing on Friday night that I screwed up again. I've messed this part up so many times, and it's just like I actually like almost did one of those like, that's it, I'm done. I give up. It was so bad. And I was
just picture that right in the middle of a show. You're just like, done. Set your guitar down and walk away.
And it's just frustrated because it's like I know I'm doing something wrong, but I want to blame somebody else. But it's like, pretty sure it's me, but
right.
Maybe there's a loophole in here. Maybe it is somebody else. Nope, it's me. Yeah. But like I said, it was just interesting. It's like I did the gig, that kind of stuff, and then like the next day, it's like, oh yeah, I have a podcast to put up, and didn't. I just found other things to do, and and taking care of the dog and all that kind of stuff. He had a rough day today, which it's hard to, like yesterday. Jax was literally walking on the leg. He was like just cruising like crazy, and I had to take the fentanyl patch off. And today he's not even putting any weight on it. It's like, okay, but I know this is going to happen, but it's hard not to go, did is it bad? It's like, no, I'm just, so I'm just like doing that. It's just a day. Tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. But, really very, I went snowboarding on Friday, had a great day. It was just beautiful and, kind of routine. Sharon was busy doing the film festival and hanging out with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, fabulous.
Fancy.
That was pretty awesome hearing about, he'd already seen, he's seen the movies. He just wanted to hang out in the lobby. Right. It's just kind of fun, what's he like? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like wouldn't that be an interesting experience? I mean, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
That would be fabulous to have that.
What do you think about the history? Oh, look, there's a picture of. Did you take that?
Yeah, it's in the Opera House.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the guy I like.
That's awesome. Yeah, she got a picture too. See proof.
There you go. Yeah.
There's Clint.
Yep. So cool.
Yeah, that goes. We went skiing in the morning, and then that's pretty wild. So they had a film 90 people walked out of.
Really?
Wow.
What kind of film?
Well, the title was She Smells.
Oh.
I'm really afraid to ask further.
Maybe I think that would have been an indication. But, indie film buffs, they'll see anything, but I guess that was like a little too much.
Wow. What genre was
for that
it?
Director, he thinks it's amazing, Do
you know what genre it is?
Yeah, what would you call it, Sharon? What was the...
Train wreck.
A train wreck, okay. That's it.
Genre is train wreck. Love it.
It was the train wreck genre. It had to do with like alcoholism, right? Or
Courtney Love.
Like Courtney Love, okay. Oh, there you have it.
Explains the title.
But it's fun to, it was fun to see all the people in town and, and there's celebrities rolling around and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it's fun.
But for me, I was pretty much hanging at home doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's just funny. What baffles me then is when I finally decide to get down and start doing something, it's like that snowball. All of a sudden I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and it's like it kicks me into the next one, but it just took what it took to get there.
Yeah. I had, you know, I've mentioned on here before how most of the time I have zero energy to do anything, but then every once in a while I'll hit that one day and it's like, I better do everything today, 'cause I feel like, you know, I'm willing to do it. Yeah. And I had that a couple days ago, the day that I went to the doctor and did all that stuff. I, you know, organized a bunch of stuff here that I needed to do. And there's various things that I wanted to get done. And I got all of the stuff pretty much done except for like one or two things. And, you know, and that was one of those where it was, you know, at the end of the day, it was like, nice. It was like, I got a lot done today. And then since I've done pretty much nothing. So.
Yeah. And I like the feeling. I just like, why can't I get this to, you know, kind of carry over a little bit, you know, because it felt really good.
We're always chasing the reward. Why, you know, like feeling, why isn't that enough?
Yeah. Thursday, we had rehearsal on Wednesday night, so I had Thursday night off. So I'm like, I can go to the men's group, which I haven't been doing in a long time because we've been practicing on Thursdays. And I drove all the way home and realized I left Bogart at the daycare. So I had to turn around and drive all the way back up to catch him and get Bogart. So when I got Bogart, I brought him all the way back home. I'm like, I don't feel like driving back up there for this meeting. This couch feels really good. I'm like, way to prioritize your sobriety, dude.
It happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, yeah, maybe this week will be different. Maybe not.
Yeah.
We'll but you know, it's weird how, like, all right. So last, you know, when I knew Jax was gonna have that surgery, and it was like financially, you know, like I said, I had that sick and tired of being sick and tired feeling. It gives you that resolve to take care of stuff. And I have everything listed up on, not everything, but I have a bunch of stuff listed up on reverb.com. And I have a lot of little things to set up on eBay. And the one reason I mentioned I loved that feeling sucked, but I loved it because it was motivating. Mm-hmm. And it just reminds me of the idea that the real enemy is complacency. When things are pretty good, why do you need to do more? You know, why pain shouldn't have to be the touchstone of growth.
Right.
And that's the one thing I could work on more, is that even when things are okay, keep working on, you know, what you need to do.
Right.
Great idea. Great thoughts.
When things are still, even moss does its job.
Very true.
Oh, that's good. So, yeah, that's about it. More next week.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But you know, it's actually one thing that was kind of funny is when Gotham is done, Stephanie and I have been talking to everybody about starting up Moving the Needle podcast again. Mm-hmm. And part of the equation is maybe getting Roy and Sean, they were the guys that had that show, involved. Well, the four of us got into a group text this week. Steph and I had looked up old episodes. We're putting together spreadsheets, all this stuff. And so that's been kind of fun and exciting. And talking about Dave and us, I feel the same way. It's wild how I've never met Stephanie in person, yet I feel like I could be, you know, looking at, oh yeah, we've been podcasting together for 10 years.
Yeah.
And again, that's because of podcasting that I've made these connections, just like you and everyone else. And it's just, it's really wild, like that we just work well together. That's why I was like, okay, yeah, if we did this Moving the Needle thing again, I would do it with her in a heartbeat, because I know that we would both, you know, she picks up the slack when I'm down, and I try to do the same for her.
Yeah. You guys have a good dynamic for sure.
Yeah. And it's not just on the mic, it's off the mic too. You know, it's like right now she's doing tons of the promotion stuff, and I love it, you know, and so that's the part that makes me.
I was going to say, does she want to promote a GoFundMe? No.
Insulting language?
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
while you're at it, yeah.
I hear her boyfriend doesn't have a job right now, so yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
You can rope him in.
I didn't take it. I took his seat on the show the one time, but I didn't. The one time I appeared on their show, it was his topic suggestion, and I got to sit in. So,
yeah. You're like, ha ha.
Yep.
Terrible.
Yep.
Well, Brian, you have our article for today, don't you?
Sure.
Yes, you do.
I have to open the page again. This is some, we've talked about like social media and stuff on here before. And this goes beyond this. This is actually more geared at just video games in general. This article here is talking more about like console and PC gaming. But it says 2 large studies have found a link between loot box spending and problem gambling. And here we go. I'll just read this. It's easier. Many popular games allow people to pay a small fee to obtain a loot box containing random selections of virtual in-game items. New research has found that there is a significant relationship between problematic gambling behaviors and spending money on loot boxes. The findings, which appear in the journal PLOS1, indicate that people who spend more money on loot boxes are also more likely to be unable to keep their gambling habits in check. Loot boxes are extremely widespread. A recent analysis that we did showed that they may be featured in as many as 63% of mobile games. That number feels low. I'm not going to lie. They're extremely profitable, too. They're estimated to have generated as much as $30 billion in revenue in 2018, said study author David Zendel of York St. John University. So they're also highly worrying. There are clear parallels between loot boxes and potentially harmful activities like gambling. Given their prevalence, importance, and the lack of literature on them, I think a good question is, why weren't more people running these studies? The researchers had 1,172 gamers complete psychological surveys regarding problem gambling and loot spending. The participants all reported regularly playing at least one of 10 popular games that feature loot boxes. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, League of Legends, Hearthstone, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, Go, FIFA 18, Rocket League, DOTA 2, Team Fortress 2, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. This must have been done before Fortnite kind of took over the Battlegrounds game for that spot. Says there's a link between loot box spending and problem gambling. However, we're not sure if this means that loot boxes literally cause problem gambling, or if it means that people who are already problem gamblers spend significantly more money on loot boxes. In either case, though, it doesn't look socially beneficial. On average, the participants reported spending $19.58 on loot boxes in the past month, but some had spent up to $2,300. Wow. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, some of the games that I play, like there's a wrestling match 3 game that I play, and one of the it's not micro, but one of the things in there you can get, it's some pack that's got a bunch of things for different guys, and it's like $100. And every time I see it, I'm like, who's spending $100? Well, clearly somebody. But yeah, it says, where is it? The study replicates the finding of previous research done in 2018. That study, which examined 7,422 gamers, found that people with more severe gambling problems tended to spend more on loot boxes. That research also found that people with more severe gambling problems tended to spend more on other kind of in-game items, but the relationship was not nearly as strong. Some researchers have compared loot boxes to a predatory form of psychological entrapment, where players spend an escalating amount of money because they believe they have invested too much to quit. So you're pot committed at that point. Interesting. But longitudinal research is needed to determine whether loot boxes are directly related to the development of gambling problems. Researchers have suggested that loot boxes might create a gateway to problem gambling, but we still don't know if this is true. So
fascinating.
Yeah, the part, like, I actually thought when they were talking about the whole predatory entrapment thing, I thought it was going to be more of, you're like, I remember people with Candy Crush, especially, that each day you got X amount of like lives or tries or whatever it was, right? Well, when those ran out, you had to wait X amount of time, you know, a few hours, day, whatever it is. Or you could probably for like 99 cents or something along those lines, buy a few more tries. Well, you're there, it's only $1. And next thing you know, and people don't realize that they do it every time they play until when that payment goes to push through and it's like $70 or something, you know? I've even caught myself doing it on the wrestling one. They'll have things that'll improve guys that are like limited time things, and they'll run a special that's either like 99 cents or $1.99. And I used to like at times I was like, well, I'll get one. Then I was like, well, I'll get 2. And then it's 3. I mean, I never really went beyond that, but it was still the idea that I meant to spend $1 to $2, and I ended up spending $6 to $8, you know? And if and that's not every time I played, but it's still the idea that it happened not that much for me, but I know people who do that a lot. You know, this one baseball game I have, I've seen guys in the chat. One guy was mad at the developers and talking, you know, in the chat room thing about how over the weekend, some promotion they had, he spent like $150 and basically got nothing, you know, got basically common stuff. So he feels like they should at least essentially give you your money's worth, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, most people seem to agree with him on that, especially when you're spending that kind of money. But, so that's kind of where I saw it, was that it's, when you're in those games, it's almost like, it reminds me of, okay, you're at the arcade, you've got quarters in your pocket, and you die in the game. Would you like to continue?
Yeah.
You know, if you're really already hooked in the game, you're throwing more quarters in the machine, you know, kind of a thing. It's hard to walk away, especially if you've gotten really far in the game, you know, and it's basically, it's the online version of doing that exact thing, you know, or like I said, you get special weapons or boosts or whatever it happens to be, you know.
The game I play is heavy in that.
Yep.
Like, it is really heavy, and I've seen everything that you've mentioned, including like they have promotional periods where they'll, you know, and they literally have crates.
Yep.
They have crates that you can purchase.
Yeah.
And some of them get ridiculously expensive to get a whole bunch of them. And they say, if you look at the print, that there's a chance you can get this, or this.
Right.
But you're most likely going to get, you know, this, and this. Right. But it's still, I can see how it completely, you know, ties into the gambling and.
Yep. It's
it's
totally a slot machine thing, you know, like you have a chance to win this with every pull, and that's exactly what we're doing with those things. Yep.
And the promotional one really taps into that. I know some people get into, well, like you're talking about, like with certain games, there's collecting.
Yeah.
And so I've seen people who spend a lot, like, when I get my next paycheck, I'm going to buy this, and this. People are literally spending hundreds of dollars because they love the game and they want to collect all the things.
Yeah.
And I get it. That's fine. Spend your money how you want to spend it. You know, I'm willing to spend money on it because I enjoy the game, and I know as with anything, content isn't for free. These people need to get paid. However, I know that they're getting a ton of money, because I see this part of it in a way. By even participating in it, you're almost like, all right, how much am I participating in? What did they say? The predatory practice?
Yeah. Entrapment. Yeah.
Entrapment. Am I contributing by being part of this to predatory entrapment? You know, because it wasn't like this. Like when I first started playing, it was a small thing that was not a lot of people knew about, and it had, you can spend money on it, but it wasn't like that.
But I remember like first hearing about it. It might not have been Candy Crush, but that's the one that's popping out in my head. Angry Birds. That's probably the biggest one that was back then. Was you'd get so many tries or whatever it was, and then I think you could wait or buy more tries. And I remember people telling me about that, and I'm like, that's stupid. Why would anybody ever, because my initial thought was, it reminded me of, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Lisa gets an iPod, and she's on the iTunes store, and she's just like, ooh, I like this song, and she just keeps downloading songs, and then they send her a bill, which isn't how it's ever worked, but, for the sake of the story. But she gets this giant bill for thousands of dollars, because she didn't do the math along the way. And that's the part of these things that, to me, gets dangerous. 'Cause like I said, it's, like the one, I'm like, it's only 99 cents, or people for their tries. I think they were around 99 cents or $1 type range for, 3 more tries or something like that. And, I know plenty of people who threw money into that, doing that stuff. And even to the point now that a lot of the console games, as this one study points out, the console games have heavily gone from being downloadable content where it was like, it's $15, you get all this stuff, to where now a lot of them will have, for $3 you can get this. Or, you can get a new Batman costume for $2. Or you can get, little stuffs like that. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've been a sucker for it, because there's this stuff in those games. Sometimes you're like, man, I want that. And next thing you know, you're laying out, $2. And like I said, and you don't realize that's why, like, these games, they're all free to download, because it's just like getting the first taste for free, It's the old drug mentality, first hit's free,
It really is like that.
Yeah.
Well, and it does kind of make me, it brings in so many things, like this idea of, like, where do we as a society, have, where should we be trying to control people's behavior? Where shouldn't we? And it brings up so many questions, because it ties into those things that we've already gotten involved with, drug use and gambling addictions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of missing out.
Yep.
That's a huge piece of this, is that
you're totally right. Yeah.
What am I missing out on? If I don't get extra, how am I supposed to continue on? And how am I supposed to be able to complete? And
or like Henno said, you've got, and actually I have a second article here that points out the different type of microtransactions, and one of them on there is expiration, meaning, limited time items, like Henno was talking about, and fear of missing out fits that as well, even though it's a slight tweaking of what fear of missing out typically is. It's I have to get this by Sunday. Or I'll miss it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I get that a lot in the game I play, where something gets offered. So for me, all right, so let's get into some solutions here, because I mean, I can identify with all these problems. Well, I found ways for me to get past it, and I'm not talking about put it down, walk away from it, all that stuff, of course. However, one of the hardest things to do, and, I talk about this from the addiction standpoint all the time, it's easy for me to stop drinking because not easy, but what I'm saying is that it's abstinence.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore. I don't taste alcohol. I don't have a beer.
Yeah.
Same thing, like, with drugs. I don't do a line of Coke. It's like you just don't do any of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have a sex addiction, but you still want to have sex. You've got an overeating problem, but you still got to eat.
Yeah.
You've got problems with money, but you need to spend it. You have, yada, yada. Like gambling, you don't gamble.
Yeah.
You don't do anything that resembles gambling. There's nothing in your life that you cannot play video games. That's all these things kind of fall into gambling. So what can you do? Well, when you have to exist in these gray areas, like for me, I get into I try not to fall for the hype.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stick with what's really neat is people go online and will analyze these things. And typically you can find, especially in any game, there's somebody there that has crunched the numbers.
Totally.
And it is reality. And so like one of the things that I do is in the game that I play with tanks, certain tanks earn at certain levels more than others. So when they say the specials come up, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. I already have things that earn better than this one does. So why would I play that one?
Right.
Unless it's something unique to my playing style. But so I have to look for ways to bring in rationality, logic, to engage that part of my brain away from the fantasy, away from the FOMO, away from all that.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed it. It's like, oh, there's only 3 days. These are cool,
right?
Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, let's look this up.
Yeah.
And then when I do, I can introduce some reasonableness. It's like, no, this is not reasonable. This is they're tapping into my emotions here.
Well, there was in the one I play, the WWE Champions, a couple of weeks ago they had a limited event, and which means that as you play the game, you earn certain things, and then you can get bonuses and whatever, right? Those don't cost you any money. You can play those, but the problem is you're going to really grind to get there. Versus, they'll be like, oh, here's a pack with some of the stuff that you can grind out, or you can just buy it right here, like in Magic the Gathering on the different consoles over the years, they've had it to where you could unlock a whole deck that normally you would have to keep playing games to unlock cards, or you can just pay like $10 and unlock the whole thing, basically. And there's tons of people who do that. I'm more of like, well, I bought the game to play it, so I'll just grind, But in the wrestling one, somebody like you said, I'm part of a Reddit subreddit that there's people who every time there's an event, they crunch all the numbers. And when you look at it, like you said, it's really eye-opening because you're like, wow, that's not even worth, like there was one of them a few months ago that one guy was like, basically you've got to have this and do this in order to just barely make the top prize. And I'm looking at it going, well, I don't have that or that, so I can't hit this. So it's like, well, I'm not going to like bust my neck to do any of this stuff. I'm not going to buy anything extra. I'm not going to, because in the end, I can't get the thing I can't get the carrot, like the carrot's just literally way out of my reach. But they had one recently where when the guy crunched the numbers, he found that basically you had to have everything go perfect and you would get exactly enough to get the character that they were giving away. And he was like, and then he did something where he even broke down like the odds of that happening, and the odds were so low. And he complained to the developers to where they actually tweaked the prizes because I don't think they realized, because they want it to be achievable, They want it to be hard, but they want it to be achievable. They want you to keep playing the game, but they do want you to get to the stuff because new content means you'll probably, I have a new guy I have to level up. Now I'll play more, type of mentality. And, they tweaked the prizes a little bit to make it's still hard, but he redid the numbers and the percentage. I think the percentage jumped like 20%. Like with a slight tweak of things, because every game you play, you get prizes. Mm-hmm. So if each game you play, you get just a little more prize across a week or however long the event is, it really adds up. So but yeah, if you're someone who plays those games, I'm with you, Henno. That was one of the easiest ways to wake myself up about the stuff.
When it says that if you do everything you're supposed do, you still have to spend $200.
Yeah.
Because what that does, that stops you at the beginning, rather than when you get, like they said, if you get pot committed, I'm in this already, I'm going to go all the way.
Right.
That's where I know I can get in trouble.
Yeah.
Is because there's no logic that now it's just all emotion.
Mm-hmm. Well, and essentially the main thing you have to overcome at that point is the impulse buy feeling. Yeah. Because that's literally what it is. You're playing the game, the thing pops up and says limited time event, buy this, and you're like, oh man, I have to have that. And like you said, if you can get past that initial feeling, it is a lot easier to just look at it a little more reasonably and be like you said, it's like you're looking straight at, like me, if you put numbers right in front of my face, I'm not one of those people that's going to go, nuh-uh. I'm going to go, okay, the odds are terrible. I'm not going to do this, and people actually broke down. They have different loot things you can buy to where they'll give you certain things to level up your guys or whatever. People even broke those down to tell everyone which ones are more efficient for what you're looking for. There's a whole, somebody did a spreadsheet of it, which they have way more time than I would commit to it, but it's very much appreciated by the community because it's like cash in the game is hard to get. You don't get it very often. So you want to, when you spend it, you want to make sure you're getting, the best you can get for it. So it's that's very helpful in multiple ways, because before actually I was throwing money, not real money, but in-game money at stuff that wasn't really paying off. And then when I read that, I was like, well, no wonder why. The odds of me getting what I'm trying to get are 1 in 36 or something like that. If I buy this other one, the odds are 1 in 12, So clearly, yeah.
I think another thing that's worth looking at is also, try to stay out of where you're, feast or famine, where you're depriving yourself. And then it's the same thing with addiction, that where you're more likely to go, back. Whereas you can, I know with the 12-step programs I've done for money stuff, there's ways to come up with ways to treat yourself, enjoy, your life and not, mess yourself up financially. Cause that's what we're talking about here is, we're talking about people getting into gambling problems. And one of them is to give yourself a budget. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I love playing this video game. Mm-hmm. I love playing this, whatever game it is that, we were talking earlier before we started recording about the lottery. Give yourself a budget for that. And then stick to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to your budget. There's nothing wrong with saying this is something that I enjoy doing and I can afford to spend this much money every 2 weeks, every month, whatever that dollar amount is. And it's not, I shouldn't say, we don't use the term budget in most of the work I've done. We call it a spending plan.
Okay.
Because it's based on the idea that budgets are restrictive.
Right. It's similar to not saying diet when you're.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just a way of framing it where you're saying, and you can even, if you need to, this is one of the things that we did, you put cash in an envelope.
Yeah.
And then pull that cash out. You say, okay, I'm going to spend my $20, and virtually however you want to do it. But, and that's where credit cards gets people. Well, it's not even, it's even worse than credit cards because we're literally charging something to an account via iTunes, or Google or whatever it is. So you don't even, you see it, it's third party.
Yep.
And that makes it even easier. So that's why I think there's nothing wrong with these, with these things. And again, it comes down to awareness, educate yourself as much as possible and let yourself have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find that happy balance between what you have to do and what you want to do. Absolutely. There's a good balance between there.
Yeah. And of course, if you find that you're, struggling with this much, like any sort of gambling, please seek out help for that. There's, various helps out
there. I know for a fact that if there's a Gamblers Anonymous, you don't have a gambling problem, but I guarantee there's somebody in a Gamblers Anonymous 12-step meeting somewhere that will talk to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely will talk to you because it's the same mechanism.
The same thing. Yeah. It's like I was telling you guys before we started that this turns out to be, it's the slot machine mentality, and, that is exactly what was used in developing this. I listened to a podcast where a guy talked about it, how he basically worked on microtransactions. He was one of the people who like pioneered it basically. And he said that's basically where they took the idea from, because every time you pull the arm on a slot machine, you have a chance to get whatever it is, you know, money or, you know, a car or whatever the prizes may be. And same with these. Every time you buy one of those loot boxes, you got a chance to get whatever it is that they're, you know, saying you could get. And that chase is exactly what people who have gambling problems chase. You know, like you buy scratch off tickets and you're like, well, I won $20. So you roll it over because you're hoping to hit that big one, or you're, you know, in a casino playing, you know, poker, blackjack, whatever you're playing, you know, and you do the same thing. Just keep throwing your money back into things. And next thing you know, you're like, wow, where'd all my money go? You know,
yeah.
And, you know, then you're selling things and doing things you don't, you know, wouldn't normally do because you're trying to feed that. One other thing, like since you brought up the lottery, Heno, is, you know, the lotteries around like us, and I know Heno said too, I'm assuming every state probably, if not, they're really stupid, but, a lot of them have online games and stuff now. So, you know, if you get into that kind of stuff, be really careful with that, 'cause much like anything in this scenario, you know, it's not set up in your favor. You know,
right.
It is set up for one reason, and that's to make money. It's, you know, but like you said also, Heno, though, it's like, if you like doing scratch offs or you like doing whatever, you know, set a budget. Don't let yourself go over your budget the best you can. And, you know, just make sure you're not, you know, ending up at a pawn store hawking something so you can buy scratch offs, you know, like, or things for your tank or wrestlers, you know, so
Exactly.
yeah.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? We're pretty good?
Yeah.
I think so. I can't think of really any other solutions to recommend.
Yeah. That was a really good one, especially bringing up the, you know, seeing where the numbers are crunched on it. 'Cause that's a firm slap in the face, you know? And also,
yeah, and if
it can also, like I said, it can maximize the spending you do put in there. So now if I was spending $20, I wouldn't, because I know certain things are essentially a waste of money, you know, so be smarter.
Yeah.
And one other thing I might suggest, which is, if you drink alcohol and play these games,
yeah,
just like the reason they hand you free booze at a casino, they don't go real well together.
Yeah.
And inhibitions go down, and you start making choices based upon emotion versus logic.
Yeah, and the same thing goes. Is same thing with like emotional eating.
Yeah.
There's emotional video game playing.
Totally.
These things do go hand in hand. And so a lot of the things that we talk about, doing things from when you're in an emotional state, they will apply. So be mindful of when and why you do things, and take a look at, okay, why did I do that? Okay, well, that maybe this isn't a good combination.
Yeah. Like, all these bad decisions I'm making have alcohol involved.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that before.
Well, folks, you know what time it is. And we've had a fabulous conversation tonight, and we would love to continue the conversation with you. So please reach out to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions and comments and constructive criticisms and all that good jazz. So to reach us, you can reach us at the Crazy Life Podcast at outlook.com is our email. crazylifepodcast.weebly.com is our website. You can reach me direct at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G on Twitter. Or you can reach me on my alt account, Dits with the Tits. So either one gets you to me. You can also hear more from me if you'd like on Shake the Sheets. ShakeTheSheets.com is our website. It's a podcast about entertainment and pop culture stuff. And you, Heno, how can they reach you and hear from you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ida Heno. You can find me on Facebook, Heno Heiter. And also check out my other podcast, Gotham Lights, where we will either be reviewing the latest episode of Gotham or the latest episode of The Orville.
Yep, fair enough.
And you, Brian?
You can also find the show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can find my other podcast at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. That show is not safe for work, so please be careful where you listen to it. We're part of the Tangent Bound Network and the Danger Entertainment Network, so please go check out those two and maybe find yourself some more podcasts to listen to. We would greatly appreciate it if you would rate, review, and subscribe if you haven't already, and or share our posts with your friends, especially if there's somebody who might get something out of the show. So yeah, what am I forgetting? Because my email won't load, so I can't look at what I normally do. Whatever. If, like our topic tonight or anything else, if you feel like you need some help, please reach out for it. Again, like Henno said, I'm sure there's somebody in one of those groups. In fact, once you start talking, you probably realize that everybody's got the same thing in common, essentially, so, please look out for that. And make sure you reach out to your friends if, especially the ones that you've heard are going through a rough spot, type of thing. There actually was, and this blew my mind, on Twitter a couple days ago, there was someone who posted what really felt like a last note, and apparently she, they're not, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems as though she harmed herself, and because of people on Twitter, they got help to her. And as far as I know, she's alive. I don't know any more than that, but it's still the idea that one person was concerned and it then became a network of concerned people, which then turned into figuring out how to get her help, because, it's really hard if you don't know where someone lives. You can't, call someone. You can, as we've talked before, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook all have ways you can report a post and say that you think the person may harm themselves. So if that ever happens and you feel that way, you can go through that and they will contact local authorities to go check on the person. So please keep that in mind. But yeah, had somebody not paid attention and not reached out to that, who knows, maybe she wouldn't have made it, and I don't know. She's probably in a bad way still. So, whatever. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I wanted to read this because, my friend Aaron, who does the art for the Obscure Gentleman comic, he did my avatar on Twitter, if you've seen it. The other day, there was a conversation going in the Obscure Gentleman Twitter room, and kind of like the concept of, we've talked before and different people have talked before about, creativity, comparing yourselves to others, not being able to replicate what you see in your head. And Aaron posted this, and it says, shoot, I forgot to, oh, there it is. And you can find him on Twitter at Obscure Aaron. That's Aaron with 2 A's. Or you can go to, I don't remember. You just go to that to find their website so you can check his art out. Anyway, he said, basically, to hell with your mind and its insecurities. Make art because you have to. Because it's what has to be done, because something inside you needs to let whatever you're making out. Do it because it's just got to be done. I love making art. I love drawing. But the end process always leaves me saying it's not as good as what I see in my head or something else. I ignore that now, because it's the journey that creates a destination for the viewer to experience. I'm also really, really sleepy, so I might sound stupid, but no, but when I read that, I was like, I know that stuff, but it's every time I read or hear that kind of a thing, it's like, yes, that's what I want to get back to. That mentality is exactly how you get over the way that I've been, and, but I wanted to say it on here mainly because, it was one of those, like sometimes someone just says something and you're like, yes, like, like I needed that today kind of a thing. And so, if someone out there needs that, then do that. Quit comparing yourself to others. Don't worry about the end result. Just do the work and, trust yourself when it's done, because again, you can overdo art of any kind, music, fine art, any of it, you can hone it to death and ruin it. So don't worry about it. Just do it.
And with that, folks, go out there, enjoy the journey, and live the good life. We'll be here next week.